Moo, 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 moo.
Okay, who let the cow in here?
Very funny. Seriously, I want to play a good strategy game, and I'm getting a little tired of Master of Orion.
Say no more. Meet Ascendancy from the Logic Factory, a game with the epic scope of Moo, the stunning visuals of Outpost, and an interface 10 times better than anything you ever played before.
Sounds like you like this game.
Oh, I do. But there are certain things about it that drive me bananas. Allow me to elucidate. It would be easy to write this off as a Moo clone, but there are too many things it does well to file it under cheap knockoff.
The SVGA graphics, for example?
Yeah, great graphics, with all the structure and chip component tiles fully rendered.
So this is a tile-based game?
Yeah, sort of. Actually, the front page of the interface is an excellent 3D map of the galaxy. It's way cool. You can scale and rotate it as desired, toggle the star lanes on and off, and toggle on and off displays of information about ships and colonies.
And the other pages?
The other full-screen displays give you summary info about your colonies, ships, and diplomatic relations. You can also display a single system using a 3D map similar to the one that shows the galaxy, and look at individual planets and ships. It's the planet and ship displays that are tile-based. Planets have a fixed number of tiles corresponding to how large they are. Depending on the type of planet, they can be black, white, or colored. Black squares are pretty much useless until you develop terraforming, at which point you can turn them into white squares. White squares are normal building squares.
So each square can hold one structure.
Right, and each structure increases the amount you produce in 3 different categories: industry, research, and prosperity.
Let me guess. The more industry you produce, the faster you can build things. The more research you produce, the quicker you develop new technologies. And the more prosperity, the faster your population grows.
See that? I told you this was an easy game to understand.
I noticed that the colored squares can be one of 3 colors. Can we assume they have some impact on those 3 categories of production?
We can indeed. Structures built on red squares produce more industry, those built on blue squares produce more research, and green squares produce more prosperity.
Do all the structures produce some of each, or do they specialize?
At the game's start, they're very specialized. You can build factories to produce industry, agriplots to make prosperity, and labs to produce research. As your technology advances, however, you can build structures with increased output and structures that can produce in multiple categories. You can also develop structures that can increase the max population of your planet.
Speaking of technology,
I was just getting to that. Ascendancy is kind of odd in that you don't have the ability to build spacecraft at the start of the game. After researching a couple of technologies, however, you can build your first starship. That's where things start to get weird. The technology tree is extremely peculiar. I mean, you'd think that shipyards, which can build ships from scratch, should be able to repair and refit them, but no. You've got to develop gravimetrics, which will let you build orbital docks. I wouldn't really mind this so much, except that the technology is several hundred days further down the tree.
Really, don't hold your feelings in like this. It's not healthy.
Even more annoying is the fact that there's no way to tell what a technology will do for you until you've completely researched it. None. It tells you what you'll be able to build, but gives you no clue what those things will do. The names are no help either, so the first few times you play the game, expect to have no clue where your technological development is going.
So you didn't like the way the game handles technology?
No, I didn't like the technology tree. The way the game handles research is fine. The 3D rotating technology display is cool, and the rendered tiles for all the new things you can build are really excellent. It's just that the interdependencies in the tree make very little sense to me, and the tree should have been more 3-dimensional and less linear.
I noticed that you're able to click on items to get information about them. That's cool.
Yeah, by holding down Shift, you can help click on many of the game features and get a little pop-up that explains the feature.
Like those red links. Click on one of those so we can find out what it does.
You can't.
Can't? Okay then, look it up in the manual.
Nope.
So there are certain things that are kind of vague, not explained clearly, and no real way to get information about them?
Yep. Fortunately, they're few and far between, but they are there, and they are irritating.
What about diplomacy? They said good things about diplomacy in the promotional materials.
Diplomacy. Ugh.
Ooh, that's not a good sign.
Well, I don't exactly hate the diplomacy, but there's nothing especially good about it. It's basically the same technique as civilization, via Moo. The alien races pretty much push you around. The only overtures you can make to them are to trade research, star lane knowledge, and system information. Unfortunately, they seem to have perfect intelligence about you, so they know when it's to their advantage to trade stuff, and that's the only time they're willing to do it. So, diplomacy isn't really an accurate description of your interactions. Since you can't really bargain with the other races, it's probably good that the combat interface is so easy to use. Moving a ship, or attacking with it for that matter, is simply a matter of selecting it and clicking on where you want to go or who you want to shoot.
How come you have so few ships?
There's an artificial restriction on the number of ships you can build, equal to the number of systems you control, plus one extra for your home system.
That's annoying.
Yes, but it is consistent with the rest of the design. I don't like it, but I've gotten over it. The shipbuilding screen makes up for it, though. Ships of different sizes have a number of tiles, like planets, into which you drop engines, shields, weapons, generators, and so on. Very cool.
Despite the problems you have with it, Ascendancy sounds pretty cool. It'll probably fulfill my moo craving for now.
Yeah, it's quite a good game. I only have problems with certain elements of it. I'd recommend it to anyone who's interested in a space strategy game on a grand scale, especially a new gamer or one who hasn't played a lot of strategy games before because they were intimidated by a complicated interface.